President. So, President is mentioned in Part 5 of the Constitution under Article 52 to 78. Right. So, the President, he or she, is the constitutional head of the Union government. So, how is President elected? So, is indirectly elected. So, you know the difference between indirectly and directly. So, directly, we as a citizen elect MLA of our region, right? So, that is direct election. Indirectly is election among themselves without people's vote. So, this is done through electoral college. So, further we will study what is electoral college. For now, let us understand the term electoral college. And Article 52 says that there shall be a president for a nation or a country, that is India. And Article 53 says executive power of the union is vested in the president. So, if a ruling government wants to exercise some policy or rules into the society, for that prior recommendation of president is required, right? So that is mentioned here. And also the age should be 35 and above, and also should be a citizen of India and eligible for Lok Sabha election as well. And president holds office for 5 years, and also the president can be re-elected as well. So same person can stand again. Whereas in USA, it is only for 2 years. And president, in order to resign, president has to give letter to the vice president. So in order to resign, it is always vested in the hands of vice president. Or also, a president can be impeached if the government feels that president is not fit for this government. Then he can be removed through impeachment. So that is mentioned in Article 61. So further we'll study how is impeachment takes place, who are the people involved in impeaching the president. Either it is an elected member or nominated. So let us study that in further slides. Then what is the power of role of president? So he will appoint prime minister, governor, judges of Supreme Court, High Court, then election commissioner, then attorney general of India, then comptroller and auditor, then UPSC chairman. So all these posts will be appointed by the president. And also Article 74 says that president must act on advice of the councils of ministers. So council of minister, which includes PM and other ministers such as defense minister, finance minister, etc. All those comes under councils of ministers. So what they say has to be followed by president. That is mentioned in Article 74. Then what does Article 75 say? That prime minister and councils of ministers are appointed by the president. So Article 75 says that the prime minister and council of ministers are appointed by the president. And also Article 76 mentions the appointment of attorney general of India. Then Article 78 is important. So this applies for both president and governor. For governor, there is another article, but the concept is same, that the PM has to communicate. So each and every time PM has to communicate about a decision or anything which is related to the government to the president. So that is mentioned in Article 78. So same follows for governor as well, where CM has to mention it to the governor. And also, what are the legislative powers of president? So he summons, procures, dissolves parliament. So what do you mean by this? Summons, in the sense, he can call for a meeting. So in simple words, president invites a member of parliament to come and start the session of a parliament. So this happens at least twice a year. Now what is prorogues? So prorogues meaning ending of session of parliament. So in summoning, he will start the session, and prorogues, he will end the session of the parliament. But here members will still remain. So ending the session, it doesn't mean that you are dissolving. So here the members in the Lok Sabha are still present. Just the meeting has been ended here. Right. Now what is dissolve? So dissolve is nothing but completely ending the Lok Sabha permanently. So all the parliament members, so all those will be terminated. So it is nothing but ending the Lok Sabha permanently. So in simple words, president breaks the Lok Sabha here. So all MPs will lose their seats in the Lok Sabha, and again the re-election should happen, and again voting has to take place, right? And one thing to remember, only Lok Sabha can dissolve. Rajya Sabha is always permanent in nature. And President also appoints 12 members to Rajya Sabha. So these members include from different sectors such as art, science, social welfare, etc. And also two members of Lok Sabha from Anglo-Indian. So initially this was about to terminate in 2026, but the 104th Constitutional Amendment extended it to 2030, right? So in the previous class we have seen this. And also what does Article 123 say? So Article 123 says he can promulgate ordinance when the parliament is not in session. So ordinance is nothing but president himself will start a session if he feels that there is some important announcement has to be made or some bills has to be passed. That time ordinance power is used by the president, that is mentioned in Article 123. And also what are the judicial powers of president? So he can grant pardon under Article 72. So pardoning is in simple words it means forgiving. So there are certain technical terms under the pardoning power that will further learn. So he also has the judicial power mentioned in Article 72 about pardoning power. And also he can declare national emergency. So previous class we have studied what is a national emergency, what are its effect, how does it take place, right? And what are its amendment. So even has a national emergency, so he can declare national emergency, also declare president rule, financial emergency also. The governor. So governor is mentioned in part 6. So this is related to state, right? So president is for whole nation. So the mention of governor is mentioned in Article 153 to 167. So here it is very similar to the president as well. So for governor there is no changes. It is exactly like a president. What president has the power, the roles, all those roles will be governed by the governor, right? So the governor is the constitutional head of the state here. So governor is appointed by president on the recommendation of the central government, the ruling government, right? So Article 153, what does it say? So there shall be a governor for each state. And what is Article 154? Here executive power of the state is vested in governor. So similar to the president, right? So if a state government has to make a policy or flood it into the economy, before that it has to be recommended or there is a recommendation required from the governor here, right? And what is the criteria, age criteria for governor? So should it is similar to the president, that is equal to 35 or greater than 30, and also should be a citizen of India and should be eligible for Lok Sabha election, and no fixed term here. So holds office during president's pleasure. So what do you mean by this? President's pleasure. So it is nothing but if the president or the ruling government feels that governor is not fit for the present scenario, the and not working according to the government will, so he can be terminated or can be removed by the president. So as long as president feels that he is okay, then he will vest his power, so he will be in power. So there is no fixed term or tenure. For example, a governor, attorney general or civil servant holds office during the president pleasure. So if the government is unhappy with them, the president can remove them at any time, so no fixed term. And also what are the other powers of governor? So he can give resignation to the president here. For president it is to be given to vice president, and the governor appoints chief minister, ministers, other ministers, then attorney general of state. So everything related to state here. So what does Article 163 says? So here it says acts on the advice of council of minister, so same as president. And what is Article 164? Appoints chief minister and ministers. And how Article 78 where the president should act or the councils of minister should communicate with the president. Similar way in Article 167, here the chief minister or the councils of minister of a state, their prime minister had to communicate with the president, right? Here chief minister has to communicate with the governor. So this keeps on going. It keeps on happening every time. And what are the legislative powers of the governor? So same thing, summons, prorogues, dissolves state assembly. And also governor can withhold or return or reserve the bill. So if there any bill has to be passed, if governor feels that this is not okay, so he can withhold it. So he will terminate as well. So he can reserve the bill as well. So he has that power. What is Article 1 213 say? So can promulgate ordinances, same as the president. It was what, 123, right? Here Article 213. So he can promulgate ordinance. The state is not in session, as I told you. Same case as president. So as I told you, what is ordinance, why it is needed. So in case if the governor or president feels that there is an important announcement had to be made or has to pass some rules or policies, he can start a session, right? So that can be done under ordinance. So for that we call ordinance power of a president or a governor. Now let us see some other important powers of a governor. So the judicial power. So what are the judicial power? So can grant pardon as well. So that is mentioned in Article 161. So same as president, even the governor can pardon uh, or forgive punish, but he cannot pardon death penalty. So governor doesn't have that power. So he cannot pardon death penalties. And also he doesn't have emergency power like president. Now let us look into the election of president. So how is president elected? As we know, the president election is not direct; it is indirect, right? So this, as I told you, that electoral college. So college consists of electoral members. So elected members of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies of all states, state legislative assemblies of UTs. And one thing here, nominated members are not included. So nominated members do not vote here, but nominated members vote during the impeachment of president. So that is the difference here. For election, only elected members, but for impeachment, both elected and nominated members. So how vote is counted here? So here value of MLA's vote is counted as well as value of MP's vote is counted. So MLA, as we know, member of Legislative Assembly, we as a citizen vote MLA of our region, right? So for the election of president, how MLA's vote is counted? So value of MLA's vote is equal to population of the state. Here the state census is taken as per 1971 divided by total elected MLAs of the state, again divided by 1000. So this is how value of MLA vote is counted. Whereas for MPs it is value of MP's vote is equal to the total value of MLA's vote in the country by total number of elected MLAs of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So that is the difference. Now let us look at the difference between president and governor. What are the some of the difference or the difference in power or their post? So constitutional position. So presidents, it is mentioned in Article 52 to 78. So he comes under union government or union executive, whereas governor is for state executive. So both are constitutional authorities, not under state or government or something else. So they are supreme powers, right? And election appointment as well. So president is indirectly elected by electoral college of MPs and MLS, whereas governor is appointed by the president itself on advice of the Union Council of Ministers, the ruling party, right? And also, there are some criterias for governors. So that governor should not belong to the concerned state, right? And also, chief minister should consult the president whether he or she has to be the governor of a specific state, right? So that is the criteria here. And also, let us look at the qualification that he has to be the citizen of India, then completed 35 years of age, and for president qualified to be the member of Lok Sabha, and for governor it's a legislative assembly. So basically the central and the state. Governor is for state, right? And what about nomination? So nomination is only for president. So here, how president is nominated? So here, for the nomination to take place, so it has to be signed by 50 proposers and 50 seconders, and also security deposit has to be made when you when you contest for the election of president, 15,000 has to be paid here, and this 15,000 will not be returned if you fail to secure one sixth of the valued votes. So that is how it takes place. Nomination takes place. And as we know, the term of president is for 5 years and governor is also 5 years. But the exception is governor holds the office as per president's pleasure, as I told you. So both can continue beyond terms. There is no specific tenure. Like after every 5 years, he can stand for re-election as well. And what about oath? So president administered by Chief Justice of India. So president gives oath to CJI of India, Chief Justice of India. Whereas governor is for Chief Justice of State, that is High Court. And also must not be a member of parliament or state legislature. Once he becomes a president, he shouldn't be a member of parliament or state legislature. For both president and governor. For president, it's member of parliament. So state legislature stands for governor. And also must not hold any office of profit. Like if he is earning income from the government or he holds any high post in a government, so that will be terminated. So he cannot hold both. Either he should be a governor or a government servant, right? Now, what are the conditions of office here? So salary for the governor or president, allowances such as uh, the accommodation given by the government to the civil servants, right? And privileges, these are fixed by parliament for president as well as for governor. And also, these allowances, salaries cannot be reduced during their term. So when they are in the post of president or governor, it cannot be reduced. And the governor of multiple states. So what happens when one governor is governor for too many states, for multiple states? So here allowances shared between the states. And what are the privileges and immunities for the president and governor? For president, so he is immune from criminal proceedings. Like so he or she being a president, if he commits a crime, so he is not being imprisoned. So there is a immunity against the criminal proceedings. But the criteria is 2 months prior notice should be given. So directly you cannot come and arrest the president, right? 2 months prior notice has to be given that you have committed a crime and certain proceedings will take place. So that should be given 2 months prior. And same as for the governor, cannot arrested or imprisoned. So 2 months prior notice should be given. Now, how impeachment or the impeachment is nothing but removal takes place. So impeachment takes place when president violates the constitution. So if he violates the rules according to the constitution, so the impeachment is mentioned in the article 61. So how it is initiated? So it is initially started in either of the house. So either of the house can, so that impeachment process can be started in either of the house, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. And also one-fourth of the member has to sign that. And for impeachment, 14 days prior notice has to be given to the president that impeachment process will take place. So 14 days prior that notice has to be given to the president. And also this is passed, the ordinance is passed, not ordinance, sorry. This procedure for impeachment is passed by the two-third of total membership of both the house. Whereas for governor, here no impeachment takes place. As the governor holds office according to the president's pleasure, so he can be removed at any time. There is no procedure to remove him. So president himself can remove the governor. Now coming to veto powers. So what are veto powers? So there are how many veto powers? So there are total four veto powers. The first one is absolute, second suspensive, third pocket, and fourth is reservation. Now what is absolute veto? So here, if a government wants to pass a bill regarding the welfare of the society, so in absolute veto, the president feels that this will harm the society. He can completely reject a bill. So he can terminate that completely. So that is called absolute veto. So where he will completely reject a bill or stop a bill from proceeding further. Same holds for governor as well, but in the state legislature. Now what is suspensive veto? Here president can send a non-money bill back to parliament for reconsideration. E- Except money bill, other bills can be given back for reconsideration. So if a government passes a bill and the president feels that the bill is not appropriate for the society, he can again give it back to the government to modify it, to make it correct, and bring it back to the president again. So in that case, he will use suspensive veto, where he will reconsider the bill. He will give it back to the government in order to correct it. And again, if the parliament passes it again, the president must give assent. If he says yes, it will pass, or else no. Also, the governor can do the same in state legislature. Same holds for the governor as well. Now, what is pocket veto? Here, president can keep a bill without taking any action for indefinite time. So, in pocket veto, what happens is if the government, imagine if the government passes a bill, and if the president is confused whether to say yes or no, for that he will use a pocket veto where he will do not say yes as well as no. So here it is not even terminated, but he will suspend it for a short period of time, or else it can continue till indefinite of time. Governor can also do this, especially when bill is reserved for the president. So here governor will reserve the bill not with himself, he will reserve the bill with the president. Also for governor there is no limit, he can keep it with the or reserve with the president for unlimited of time. So that is called pocket veto. Now what is reservation? So this is for governor only, not for president. So the governor can reserve state bill for the president's consideration. So he will not say yes or no, but instead he will reserve it for president for the answer. So if the president does not answer, so there is no response, right? So that will be pending for long period of time. So there is no limit. Here if he once he will reserve the bill for president, then he will further proceed with that bill only if president reacts to it, if he says yes or no. And also one thing to remember, money bill, especially money bill cannot be returned by the president for reconsideration using which power, which veto power, suspensive veto, right? Other than money bill, all other bill can be returned back to recheck, but whereas for money bill he cannot, president cannot. So this was done under 44th constitutional amendment. So 44th constitutional amendment made it mandatory for the president to give assent to constitutional amendment, money bill, right? Then president's pocket veto. So this pocket veto is a real power actually. So he can either he can, if he is confused, he he can withhold it, right? So he can keep it in his pocket. So for that reason it's called pocket veto. So if president is confused whether to say yes or no, he can withdraw it. So he will not decide anything. So it is called president's pocket veto is a real power. Now what are the ordinance power of a president? Article 123. So as I told you, when parliament is not in session and the president feels it is important to make a session there, so he will use ordinance power. So for president it is article 123. So if there is any urgent law is needed or a policy has to be passed, for that even though the parliament is not in session, not in meeting, he can instantly start a meeting. He can instantly pass the bill without calling for a session, right? So this is a temporary law made by the president. So how long does it last? So this is valid only for 6 weeks. After that, parliament meeting has to take place again. So if parliament does not approve it, it will automatically ends, right? And also there is some limit if that bill passed by the president shouldn't go against fundamental rights and also cannot amend the constitution. And also president should take advice of the prime minister as well and other councils of minister, as I told you. And also what about the role of court here? So here court can recheck the bill or the ordinance power used by the president whether it is proper or not. So court has that power. What about ordinance power of a governor then? So this is mentioned in article 213. So even the governor uses when the state legislature is not in session. So when the state legislature is not in session, the governor can use it. So as I told you, this is a temporary law made by the governor of the state. And also In case of president, that would last for 6 months, right? In case of governor, it is valid only for 6 weeks. And after this, the state assembly has to take place again, and it can end automatically if the state assembly feels that this is not valid. And limitations are same as the president, that it shouldn't go against the fundamental rights, right? And governor has to take the advice of the chief minister. In case of president, it has to be taken by the prime minister. And here, what about court review? Here also the court can look through the matter, can decide whether it is rightly mentioned or not. Now, what is the discretionary power of the president? So, what are discretionary powers? So, these are the powers where the president or governors acts on their own without needing the advice of council of ministers. Right. And previously, we have seen, for example, here the during the ordinance power, here governor or president has to take the advice of the chief minister or the council of minister. Whereas in discretionary power, that is not the case. Here, president or governor can act on their own. They need not take advice of council of minister. So, in most of the case, the president must act on the advice of the prime minister and cabinet, as I told you. But discretionary is opposite of it. So, this is used possibly in special cases such as appointing the prime minister, then dismissing the council of ministers, sending report to the president, right? So here it is mentioned under Article 356 for president rule is based on governor's report, not the president discretion. So discretionary power is used during the appointment of prime minister. So if the president feels that no party has a clear majority, so president himself will declare who will be the prime minister. So that is a discretionary power. So here he need not take any advice. And also dismissing the council of minister if he feels if the finance or the defense minister is not working according to our government will, then he can dismiss them. So that is his discretionary power. Then what about the discretionary power of the governor then? Here his power is wider than president. So how is it possible? Let us look. The governor has more real discretionary power in the state. So as I told you, through discretionary power he can appoint chief minister if he feels that there is no majority in any of the party. So also recommending president rules. So that is mentioned in Article 356, president rule. So if the constitutional machinery fails in the state, right? So he can recommend president rule there. If a state is failing, if it is constitutionally failing there, so he can recommend president rules using Article 356. And also the other discretionary power involves reserving the bill for president assent. Right, so that is mentioned in Article 200. So if he is confused whether to say yes or no when a bill is passed, he can reserve it with the president for indefinite of time. So that is mentioned in Article 200. And also he can refuse to sign an ordinance even if advised by the state cabinet. So this is just a rules, but it will not happen because the governor is selected according to the present ruling government, right? So he will be his member itself. So these are just formalities that has to be followed. And also using discretionary power, sending reports directly to the president can take place without consulting the state government. So the key difference are that president discretionary power is mostly formal, very limited, whereas for governor it is more than president, especially if if there is a political instability in states, as I told you, using the Article 356. So he can recommend president's rule there. Now, what about pardoning power? So, pardoning power is nothing but just forgiving. So, this is mentioned in Article 72 of the Constitution that it states that the President can grant mercy to a person punished under central laws or by court or even the death sentence cases, right? So, Governor's pardoning power is mentioned in Article 161. So, the Governor can grant mercy for people punished under state laws. but he cannot pardon death sentence, as I told you previously. But the president can do it. So there are some of the types of pardoning powers, both for president and governor. Right. The first is pardon, where full forgiveness will be given. Right. Then what is commutation? So here it is nothing but commutation. Commutation means changing a harsh punishment to a softer punishment. Like death sentence will be converted to imprisonment. Whereas in remission, here it is reducing the time of punishment. So if he is sentenced for 10 years jail, so president can use remission and he can reduce the imprisonment to 5 years from 10 to 5. Now what is respite? Respite, it is nothing but giving less severe punishment, especially during some cases related to health, such as health issues, then pregnancy. During that time, president can use respite and give less severe punishment. The last one is reprieve. What is this? This is temporary delay in punishment. If he is about to be sent, he is already declared to be given death sentence, but that will postpone. So it will temporarily delay if there is any complication. So in order to delay that, president can use reprieve. Right. So the difference of pardoning power is that death sentence can be given by only president, not governor, and also the court martial cases. Court martial cases, it is related to any case related to civil servants. During that time, the court martial cases takes place, procedure takes place, right? So governor do not have that power. Only president has that. So veto power, as we saw.